Welcome to the Business of Black Business, a talk show that interviews Black entrepreneurs and advocates for Black businesses. The topics of conversation include access to capital, best business practices, success stories, and more. Now introducing our host, Jay Reynolds.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another installment of the Business of Black Business. My name is Jay Reynolds. I own and operate Wolf Creek Consulting. We are a top-ranked executive staffing firm located in South Florida with offices in Birmingham, Alabama, and West Palm Beach, Florida. The Business of Black Business. This is a show designed to help Black entrepreneurs and would-be Black owners. It's a unique opportunity to hear directly from Black successful businesses that have done it, guys that have been there, done that, and to hear directly from them, to get their success stories, to hear how they did it, to hear how it happened, to be kind of in the room where it happened. And also, as with today's show, to get advice from professionals that support Black businesses. Now, before we get started, you know the drill. What we're going to do is we're going to thank our sponsors. We certainly could not do this without those guys. The Mesman and Dover Injury Attorneys, the Florida Lottery, and finally, Career Source South Florida. So, okay, we have a really unique opportunity to interview Jennifer Andreu, an advocate for small businesses for Miami school system. Now, I'm going to read her bio, as always like I like to do, but my real intention is to let you hear from her, to hear her story, to hear her path, and to find out how she supports small and minority-owned businesses. Now, first of all, Jennifer Andreu is an educational leader with over 25 years of experience and accomplishments in public and private education. She started her career as an elementary school teacher at South Hialeah Elementary and quickly became an assistant principal at Miami Lakes Elementary. She has held a number of roles from principal at Flamingo Elementary to administrative director for business and personnel and administrative director for the federal and state compliance office. In her current position as assistant superintendent of equity and diversity for the Office of Economic Opportunities in Miami-Dade schools, she is focused on helping small and micro, minority-owned and women-owned businesses and helping them to succeed and also helping them to get certified to do business with the county. So that's her bio, but we really want to hear from you, Jennifer. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I know that you're a very busy person. You have a lot on your plate. And from your title, you certainly wear a lot of hats. So we really want to kind of hear from you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And before you talk about your professional life, just tell us who you are, what made you you. Where are you from, that kind of thing.
Thank you, Jay. And I want to thank Dexter. It's such an honor and a privilege to join you and your viewing audience today. So again, I am Jennifer Andreu, and I've had the great fortune, I really call it a blessing, to have worked for Dade County Public Schools for the past 25 years. And like you said in my bio, I really started as an educator. So now I've kind of pivoted, and instead of educating and working with children, I am working with the vendor community and this particular role with the Office of Economic Opportunity. And it really, does bring me full circle because I am a daughter of a small minority business owner. My father, who came to this country from Jamaica with little to nothing and really built his own electrical contracting firm from the ground up and is still at 78 years old going to work 6 days a week.
How cool is that? My hero.
Right here, I grew up in Broward County. I'm still in Broward, but have always worked in Dade. So I love the South Florida area. It's near and dear to my heart. And I always tell people, I just want to give back to my community that has given me so much.
You've had a remarkable career. I mean, you've kind of been kind of a skyrocket through those 20 years of the time that you've been with the school district. But tell me about that rise. Tell me about your experiences with them, and tell me why you decided to stay within the school system and not pivot to corporate America, whatever. What kept you there? And why don't you tell us that story?
Honestly, it's just the dedication to and what I'm passionate about. I've always wanted to work with children. That was always my first love. So, as most educators, really all educators, even nationally, we're never in it for the money. So, there definitely has to be some intrinsic motivation. And for me, it really was just the love of learning and trying to motivate children and always seeing all of the future prospects available to those students. And then I as a director, I really kind of pivoted and moved more towards business and personnel. I worked with principals and making
Hmm.
sure that they would budget correctly for each fiscal year, and really loved doing that because at one point I thought I wanted to be, a business major before I found education.
Gotcha.
So it kind
Gotcha.
of married the two things that I really was interested in, education and business. And so it was the perfect union. And I've just very loyal to the leadership here. Our superintendent is second to none. And I truly have enjoyed learning from him and working with him, our deputy superintendent, as well as our school board. I feel like we are always the pace setters nationally. And so to be part of that group of leaders in the educational industry, it's really been a privilege for me, and I've been able to learn and grow from that.
You know what I like is the fact that as you tell that story with the smile on your face and look on your face, I can tell that you are absolutely passionate about what you do, right? You can really quickly tell whether or not a person is saying, hey, look, this is a job and I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid well for it. But there's another thing about it is that you can tell when somebody's passionate about it. So I can see that in your eyes and in the way that you tell your story. Um, I'm very interested in knowing you have this lofty title, right? I won't call it lofty. You have this title that has a fair amount of syllables. You know?
It's a long one.
Yeah. Why don't you talk us through exactly what that means for the small business person who who's always wanted to work along with the county, with the school system. Tell us what that means and tell us how you support them.
Sure. So I tell people not to, be mesmerized by the title at all. Really, to simplify it, my mission and the mission of our entire office, and if I can just give my entire staff a shout out because they are amazing and we really are a team. We do this work arm in arm together. I have great administrators who really lead different bodies of work, and we bring it all together. And our mission is
Mhm.
simple: it's to promote the economic growth and development of our local, small, and minority businesses here in the South Florida area. We know the importance of our dollars staying
Mhm.
local and building our economy. And so that's our chief mission. I also do wear another hat on the student side as well, because I can never get away from the children, right? Like you said, that
Okay.
is my passion. And
Okay.
so in terms of that office, the Office of Equity, Access, and Diversity, we just make sure that students have opportunities, and we honor and celebrate our differences, and we want to make sure that those opportunities are equitable across our district. You hear Dr. Gallen many times say from County Line Road all the way,
Yeah.
down to Homestead. So we just want to ensure equity across all programs throughout the school district.
Well, and I do understand that, and that makes a lot of sense to me, and certainly the whole idea about diversity inclusion being in your title makes it really important. But talk to me about a little bit about the fact that you focus on micro businesses, small and minority women-owned business, and veteran-owned business. Give me a couple of things, the top three things that you do, or the top three things that they can reach out. One of those people that fit within that diaspora, um, to that you're able to support them. How you're able to support them. The top two or three things that you do that somebody can say, well, look, really need to reach out to her team or her department because they might be able to help me to kind of navigate through this process.
Absolutely.
Does that
So
make sense?
it does,
Yeah,
Jay.
okay.
It makes complete sense. And I
Okay.
think that's one of the strengths of our office is that we assist the businesses and we want to ensure their success. So our community outreach and our partnerships have really led to that success that we've had thus far. We
Mhm.
host virtual and in-person events. Even through this pandemic, we never stopped. When we were working at home, we just immediately went to hosting virtual activities to make sure that our businesses stay connected and didn't miss any opportunities, even during the time when we were doing emergency purchases. We have relationships with all of the chambers, the other universities, and our key community stakeholders. And a big part of what we do is also enhanced on social media. So I encourage everybody listening today to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, because we will help you grow your business and increase your capacity. One of the huge programs that we offer, and let me tell you, Jay, everything is for free. So if I do not say
I
anything
kind of like
else,
that.
make sure I want to really harp on that, because we have been told that, people pay money for the programs that we offer to the community for absolutely free. We have a 6-week supplier development program, and
Wow.
it is phenomenal. It will help businesses do business not only with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, but with any government entity. They learn the differences between an ITB and an RFP. We love acronyms in education, and people get intimidated by that. They don't know what all of these things mean. They don't know the policies and the procedures. We help you with that. We guide you through it. When you leave our 6-week program, you're able to secure a contract with any government entity. We
Hey,
teach you
Jennifer,
how
I got it. Let
to
me stop you for
market.
1 second. Let me stop you for
Sure.
1 second because this is really, really, really important, right? Probably 5 years ago, we pivoted. I only did business with, let's call it Fortune 100 companies until about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I made a conscious decision, very intentional, to try to do business with state and local government. Uh, and we didn't have, when I started, the process of trying to do that 5 years ago, I literally had to navigate that all by myself. I had to understand what the certifications meant. I had to understand, the difference between an RFP and RFI and all of those things. Did not have that learning that you are basically providing for free. So my question to you is this: how does a person listening to us right now today, who has made a decision that they're going to do business with state and local governments, and say, hey, look, I need to go through that really steep learning curve and not do it by myself, how do they contact your department, or how do they do that? Do they do it online? Do they do it? Do they send you an email or a staff member an email? Walk us through that, because it's really important, because I don't want people to have to go through what I had to go through. I had to learn it all on my own. And I'm a
Exactly.
motivated, persistent, dogmatic guy. So I had to learn it, but this is an opportunity for people to not have to go through that gauntlet the way I did.
Of course, we want to eliminate those obstacles. So, yes, they can reach out to us by email. They can call us. Our number, I know, will be posted in the chat, 305-995-1307.
Thank
You
you.
can follow us on social media. All of our contact information is there. And anyway, we're here every single day, Monday through Friday. So, whichever format that they feel most comfortable, they will get a response within 48 hours or less from us. And this is our 7th cohort that we currently have going.
Hmm.
And so again, and we keep the group small, between 20 to 30 people max, so that you can have some really, one-on-one intensive kind of introductions. And like you said, you can feel free to ask questions. You don't ever have to feel like I'm the only one who doesn't know
Yes.
the answer. And
Yes.
so it's nice to have it in a small group. And we've even found that a lot of the former graduates have kept in touch with each other, and some of them have done some joint ventures. So we've really had a lot of success from our supplier development program.
I think that is a unique byproduct of that. Is the fact that you are introducing people of like businesses in many cases, and they decide to do business together, which makes them stronger together, right?
Yeah,
Which is a
absolutely.
unique byproduct of that. Now, talk to us a little bit about the certification process. You mentioned certification. Do anybody that wants to do business with the school system, do they have to be certified?
So, Jay, they don't have to be certified, but they should be, and they will want to be certified. So,
Gotcha.
we last week, again, through our visionary superintendent, Mr. Carvalho, and the leadership of this school board, they revised and amended our school board policy, which is 6320.02, that
Hmm.
really guides
Hmm.
our body of work. And so, with that, we are able now to have affirmative procurement initiatives specifically for minorities, specifically for African Americans and non-minority women,
Wow.
especially in goods and services. So they want to have that certification so they can reap the benefits. And I tell people you can't wait until the item has already been published and then you want to try to get your certification. You need to be prepared in advance so you
Hmm.
don't miss any opportunities or any preference for points or price. So we encourage everybody to get certified right away. Do it now. So by the time that announcement is made and what we say it's out on the street, you're already in a position to gain the benefits. We also produce a directory annually, and all of our different firms, we have over about 16, 1700 now. They're all in there,
Wow.
again, for free. And we send that out to all schools, all the bureaus in this office, as well as even other communities, all of our neighbors, like I said, and the stakeholders that we network with. So the universities and the different chambers. So that directory goes out to a lot of people and they're in there. And you can purchase an ad if you really want even a bigger presence, but everybody is listed in there for absolutely free. We have sheltered market opportunities, mandatory subcontracting opportunities. So
Wow.
again, especially for our African American business owners.
You've said that a couple of times. So we're not talking about like set asides or anything like that, but you're saying specifically earmarked for African American businesses.
Correct,
Uh,
because that's the name of this show, right?
hey, hey,
So
hey, hey. I just need to hear you say it twice. That's all.
so that's right. So we want to make sure the business of Black businesses, right? That's
How
what
long does
we
it
are
take
really
to go through the
focused on.
certification process for a would-be person that's interested? How long does it take to literally get through the process of certification with you guys?
So certification is quick and easy. We actually have our third certification day tomorrow at
Hmm.
iTech Thomas Edison Educational Center. It will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We encourage you to have an appointment, but you don't have to. So if you want to get certified, you can meet the certification team over there tomorrow. And it doesn't take long at all. If you have all of your documents together, you can scan them and put them on a USB drive, and you will leave there tomorrow with your certificate in hand. It takes
Wow.
the team about an hour or so, if not less. So, if the business owner, again, if they have everything that they need, for instance, their local business tax receipt, um, they do have to have their 3 years of all of their documents from their accountant in terms of their taxes and their licenses. They have to be a citizen or a naturalized resident and own 51% or more of the interest in the company. And obviously their net worth has to be 5 million or less. But if they meet all of those requirements, then they're eligible for certification, get all of their documents together, and they can walk out of there certified.
That is amazing, and that doesn't happen. I don't know anybody else who does that. Question for you along those lines: can somebody do this online, or go ahead? I'm sorry.
Yes, yes. So if they can't make it to an actual certification event, they absolutely can go online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from their home or office to Miami-Dade schools.diversitycompliance.com. You can fill out the application online and upload your documents. And
Excuse me.
the great thing about that is a lot of us in this government space, we use the same software. So if you are already certified with one entity, it's much easier to get certified with all of the others. You can reuse your same documents
Wow.
for, the county, for Broward County Public Schools, for West Palm Beach. And I encourage everybody to get certified with everyone. So again, you don't want to miss out on any opportunity. So absolutely 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and our staff will process it, like I said, within 48 hours at max.
That's very cool. I got to ask you this question about because you brought it up. What's the opportunity for companies that are in West Palm Beach County and Broward County to do business with your system?
Yeah, so we encourage that.
Excuse me.
Our certification is for the Tri-County area. So if you're in Broward, Dade, or Palm Beach, you absolutely should get certified and take advantage of all of the opportunities. And as I mentioned earlier, those affirmative procurement initiatives that we are implementing. So yes, we do business with anyone in that Tri-County area. So Broward, Palm Beach, we want to hear from you. We've really tried to establish a bigger presence with those entities, and so we want them to come down and see us, and we'll come up. So we
Oh,
also go up
absolutely.
there. We work closely with our partners in those areas as well.
That's amazing information. Thanks. And some of it I didn't know, and I like to pride myself of being kind of the tip of the spear, that kind of stuff, because it's important to the growth of my business. Talk to me a little bit about Zoom. Excuse me. Talk to a little bit about bonding, about companies needing bonding. You guys do a really good reach. You do a really good job reaching out to construction companies and skilled laborers. I know that because I watch it. My question to you is that can you walk us through what bonding companies like that would need, and whether or not you guys also, or what kind of programs you have for professional services, and not necessarily just just construction?
Sure. So, I'm sure most of your viewers know that we have a $1.2 billion general obligation bond that the voters approved several
Hmm.
years ago. And we are probably about 85% of the way. But then, in addition to that, people think, oh, the bond is almost over. That means there won't be any more opportunities. We have our general fund annual budget for facilities as well, which never goes away. That's part of our annual
Spend. Yeah.
budget, our annual spend. And
Yeah.
then we also have another $500 million annually that we do with procurement. And then I'm sure many people have seen in the newspaper, on the news, the federal ESSER funds that have become available as well. So there's a lot going on in terms of procurement and the school district. Now, for bonding, specifically to answer your question, only our prime contractors must meet the bonding requirements, and that's because of the state requirements for educational facilities. You might hear us refer to that as SRUF. So a company
Okay.
has to be pre-qualified by the Office of Economic Opportunity so that they can do work on a school as a prime contractor. But our subcontractors do not have to go through that pre-qualification process, and they can work directly with the prime and meet whatever obligations or requirements that prime contractor has. And then the same thing with goods and services. They do not have to go through any pre-qualification in terms of that bonding capacity to do work on the goods and services side of the house.
Got it. I got to tell you, and Jennifer, I just have tons and tons of questions for you. This is such good information for people, that small businesses that are looking to navigate this. So I just have a lot of questions for you. If
Please
you just
ask them.
indulge me. In terms of, again, goods and services, because a lot of times I'm in the room where they're having discussions with large contracts, and most of those discussions are always tailored to construction, just like I mentioned before. What are some of the opportunities for professional services? And I don't mean to pin you down, and you may not be able to answer this question, but I really want to ask the question, because many times professional services, all those entrepreneurs or those small businesses are always feel like they're uh,
Left out.
yes,
Right.
I'm trying to be politically correct. Absolutely, well, left out. They got their nose pressed right against the glass wall, right, and watching everybody eat chocolate cake inside. So can you give us an idea of the people that are watching that have those kind of businesses, what they can expect?
Absolutely. Well, we need every and anything that you can think of to run the fourth largest school district in the United States. Now, our three big main spenders in the district are food and nutrition, instructional technology, and maintenance. So
Okay.
those are like, I call them my number three, right? My big three providers that I work closely with. But everything, so AC and roofing, transportation services, computer hardware, software, repair, training.
Hmm.
We're always looking for additional architects and engineers. We have several upcoming opportunities that I want your listeners to be aware of. We'll be putting items out, either invitations to bid or requests for proposals for healthy vending machines, for boiler and water heater purchases, repairs and replacement, for charter bus services. A lot happening around. If you listen to our board meeting, cybersecurity, that's huge right now, and even termite extermination services. So, and then I don't want people to think, and I especially tell our Black businesses, our small and our micro businesses, think about what individual schools need and look for and procure, because that's always a good first foot in the door too. You don't have to always go to the 50,000 and more. You can get that same number working with several schools. And so that's a great first, contract that I tell people you can do directly with a school principal.
Hmm.
So that's another way. If you're selling an item, a good or a service that you think a particular school would be interested in or in need of, that's a great, first way to make a first impression too, if you've never done work with Miami-Dade County Public
That's great
Schools.
information. That's great information. You don't necessarily have to try to land a whale. You can basically start. You can start small and work your way
Yes,
up, which makes a
sure. Get a
lot of
couple of
sense.
snappers, right? So you're ready for that whale.
Absolutely. That's the Jamaican girl in you right there.
Exactly.
um, Talk to me a little bit about your department. You gave, you can always tell a good leader when one of the first things that comes out of their mouth is when they give props to the people that support them and make them who they are. Um, Tell me about the success that your department is having today of recruiting and certifying and retaining minority businesses.
Yes, absolutely. So we have four arms, if you will. The outreach that I mentioned, which our director, Junior Anderson, oversees and his staff. We have
Mhm.
pre-qualification with Miss Michelle Hicks Levy and her staff. We have compliance with Denise Mincy Mills and her group, and certification with Tammy Reed and her group. So those are
Mhm.
kind of our four arms, if you will. And I'm so proud to say that we have, again, over 1,200 certified firms. A third of those firms are African American firms. And
Wow.
even during this pandemic, when you have seen, I'm sure, storefronts closing and people closing the doors and packing up, we have still been able to increase the number of certified firms. And, like I said, we've had businesses pivot. We had an IT firm that, in the midst of the pandemic, and we were doing emergency purchases, they started selling PPE and got a contract with us to, supply us with masks and gloves. And so it's been a good experience in terms of being able to help our businesses meet the needs of the school district. And also, we're helping them continue and maintain, and keep the doors open. So it's been a win-win in that regard. But yeah, we've been very successful, but my pastor always says the reward of a job well done is more work to do.
More work
So
to be done.
more
Exactly.
work to do. We
Yeah.
we have a goal of getting 2,000 certified firms, so we're working on really increasing that pipeline.
That's cool. That was actually the nature of my next question. Is just the KPIs part of it. How are you determining whether or not you guys are successful or not? I mean, are you? Sounds like you are keeping those numbers and you're on top of those numbers. You're setting goals and you know where you stand. And I think that you can never know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And sounds like you have a pretty good handle on that. I think that's pretty amazing. Last question, then I'm going to ask you, and I know I'm holding you. I got to tell you, just a wealth of information, and anybody that wants to do business with Miami-Dade school system today, if you're not taking notes, you're backing up, because this is an opportunity for you to learn a lot and get it directly from the horse's mouth. Talk to me a little bit about dollar spend. You mentioned that early on in our conversation, but can you give us an idea about about dollar spends and how the number of contracts have been awarded to minority companies or micro companies today. Can you give me a handle on that, or is that asking too much?
No, absolutely, because that's the real measure,
I
and
believe
that's
that.
that's what my superintendent, my deputy superintendent tell me. We can have lots of paper people on the roster, if you will, and businesses and vendors, but if we're not actually awarding them contracts and making expenditures with them, it's all for naught. So we keep, and that's our compliance team, our data person, Ed Stokes is amazing, and they make sure that we are one, transparent, and two, accountable. So important right now. So that's really how we measure our success. So I can tell you with the bond, particularly as of September 30th, we've spent $48.8 million with African American primes and
Wow.
47.9 with African American subs. So basically over $96.8 million of the funds have gone to African Americans specifically. So almost 11% of the bond. So that's great, but we still want to do better. And we know
Yes.
we can
Yeah.
do better. Um, and again, those affirmative procurement initiatives, that's what help us to be successful. We're able to set mandatory goals on those projects. So I say we're really successful, Jay, when we've worked ourselves right out of a job. And that's what I tell my team, right? When they don't need this office anymore. We don't need those affirmative procurement initiatives. We don't need a policy because they're happening organically. So
Right.
that's when we really have achieved success. And then we're trying to emulate that now with maintenance and with goods and services. We just had our Miller 3 just completed our disparity study. It's our
Mm,
third disparity study in over a decade because it goes again to show the leadership and the commitment by the
right.
superintendent. And so we know that there's still disparity with African Americans in goods and services, and that's why we're able to now establish mandatory goals for them with those procurements. And we'll be doing that so we can increase our annual dollar amount there. We have a goal in our strategic plan by 2026 that we will increase our certified spend by 15%. So we're at around 20 right now with certified firms, and we want to make that at least a minimum of 35 by 2026, and that's with
Wow.
goods and services. With facilities, we're at 52, so hopefully we can continue to move the needle in the right direction with facilities as well.
I got to tell you that's huge, Jennifer. And you took so many of the words right out of my mouth in terms of making sure that you're really intentional about what happens with the appropriations for monies for professional services. And quite frankly, I've been always an advocate. I'm the guy that stands up in the room, raises his hand, and talks about professional services versus contracting and GCs and stuff like that, because we know that those guys are taken care of. You're black on GC, if you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, you should be a millionaire, but a multimillionaire. But if you're not, that's another thing. But sounds like you guys are being very intentional about working with goods and professional services to improve their overall participation as well, because there are a lot of you know you know accountants and accounting firms and engineering firms and architect firms and staffing firms that are out there
Absolutely.
that certainly want to add value and can add value. So I I got to ask you this is my last question, I promise. Give me three things that you believe are, let's call it, points of light, are the secret sauce that you can leave with these black businesses that are listening, that will help them to improve their overall businesses through their alliance, or their participation with your department.
So one, and I love when I talk to Eric Knowles, who's always been a great supporter and friend for us. But he always says that the business owner, you have to have the back of your house in order.
Yes,
So that's one of the
absolutely.
first things, right?
Know the numbers. Got to know the numbers.
You have to know the numbers, you have to sharpen your pencil. I tell people because they're seeing, "Oh my gosh, the school district received $1.1 billion in federal ESSER funds," and they think, it's raining money. These at the end of the day, they're taxpayer dollars, and we are always looking for the best price. We don't want to overpay for goods and services.
Mhm.
That's you have to sharpen your pencil. You need to know the market, and what we're willing to pay so that you can be competitive. So of course you still need to make a profit, but you need to be competitive. And I'll give you a great example, Jay. We were looking for some services when we had to pivot to online graduation or virtual graduation. And we
Mhm.
went out and we talked to a couple of different companies. Well, one of our small companies came back with, a proposal that was millions of dollars to do virtual graduation. I said, we're not doing that. You need to know what the market is.
Yeah.
So that's important. And then relationships, we know
Yeah.
but sometimes I think that we get so busy and laser focused on maybe what we're doing that we forget to just really nurture those relationships, and relationships matter. So
Oh, absolutely.
you have to stay engaged with us, you have to stay engaged with the chambers, with other people that can help promote your business. You have to really work on your online presence and make sure you're putting a lot of content out there so people know who you are and how to reach you. So those are just, I think I gave you more than three,
No, yeah, but
but
that's huge. Who's keeping count? That
but
was
those are
actually really,
definitely.
really amazing. I got to tell you, Jennifer, thank you very much. I know I kept you much longer than we had planned to, but this was amazing for any person that's been sitting around saying, I don't know how to do it, or I'm afraid, or I'm intimidated. This gives them an opportunity, some ammunition to say, hey, look, I can actually do this. Now, if you just wait for 1 second, I got to pay the bills and thank our sponsors and stuff like that. And if you just hang on, I'd like to be able to do that and come back. Okay.
Sure, absolutely.
So, first of all, what I want to do is again thank our sponsors, Demesman and Dover Personal Injury Attorneys. Also want to thank the Florida Lottery and Career Source South Florida. Now, one of the things I'll say about Career Source South Florida is purely the fact that they have a number of jobs that they post each and every week, and they change them each and every week. That people, if you're looking for an opportunity, there are tons of opportunities out there. Let's talk about the top 10 jobs out there in Miami-Dade. There's case manager assistant position, $42 an hour, a controller, $41 an hour, a creative manager, $37 an hour, a speech language pathologist, $34 an hour, Salesforce administrative person, a field technician, a technician level 3, a handy person, $20 an hour, and customer service in Miami-Dade, also $13 an hour. So there are tons of jobs out there, and what I would suggest you do is anybody looking for a position, go to Career Source South Florida. Go to their website. We have a contact number for them: 305-594-7615. You can actually contact them on the phone or go to their website, but it's a unique opportunity to find jobs and be able to sort through them each and every week. Now, again, Jennifer, I want to just thank you. This has been an amazing opportunity. Thank you. And I know that not just purely because of that long title that you have, I know you wear a lot of hats, right? So thank you for taking the time to support small, minority, and veteran-owned businesses. Thank you for the job that you're currently doing with your department. Thank you for giving them a shout out, because that separates you from everybody else. And bottom line, this is a show for Black businesses, by Black business owners. Um, and my name is Jay Reynolds again. I own and operate Wolf Creek Consulting. We're an executive staffing firm, permanent and temporary placements. Anybody out there needing positions filled that are strategic positions, please reach out to us as well. And Jennifer, thanks very much. You've made a difference. Continue to do that. and I appreciate all you do. The last thing I'll say is that what I always say in parting: if it is to be, it's up to me. So thank you very much, and look forward to next week's discussion, the business of Black businesses. And thank you guys. Talk to you soon. Thanks for being here. Take care.
Thanks, Jay.